welcome back to my channel. In today's video we'll see how to migrate data to and from Spanner with the Dataflow. So in this lab we'll be making use of Dataflow and Apache Beam service to migrate data into the Spanner. As part of this lab we will learn how to write ETL pipelines using Apache Beam, run Apache Beam pipelines using Google Cloud Dataflow. So let's start the lab. Now we have logged into the console. So let's go back to lab. So in task 1 we'll be creating an Apache Beam pipeline to import data into Spanner. So we will be performing all of this activity on Cloud Shell. Let's activate the Cloud Shell here. So first let's set the project ID by executing this command gcloud config set project followed by the project ID. So you can just copy this command, execute it here. So in Cloud Shell we will be setting this project ID and we need to authorize this. So setting project ID is very important because we will be creating resource inside this project. To this specific project, this student ID will have permission to create resources. That is why it is very important you set the project ID. Post that we will clone the repository. So by executing git clone, we are cloning the repository onto the Cloud Shell, and this repository contains the code. So this contains a specific script which we can use to perform different tasks in this lab. So let's copy this. So it will clone the repository and it will change the directory to that repository. So now we are inside this folder Dataflow. So when we execute ls, here we can find different shell script and Python script. So let's go back here. Next we will run this script, create spanner pets database.sh. So this is a shell script. In this script we have defined steps which will create a spanner database. So this is that script. We can cat this script. So this script contains these two steps: gcloud spanner instance create, this is the spanner instance name, and the configuration. So it will take the region, and here we are providing the description. It is a spanner instance. Processing units we have defined it as 100. Next it will create a database by executing this command gcloud spanner database create, and the database name will be pets-db, and we need to specify the instance. So inside instance only it can create a database. So that's why we are passing this flag ---- instance followed by the instance name and the database. So here we are passing what standard it should be and the DDL file. So it will be referring to this pets-db schema.sql. So here you can see this is the pets-db schema.sql. So you can cat this file as well. So here inside this pets-db schema.sql we have defined the table. Using this file it will create a table. So here create table and the table name is pet. Inside this table we have defined the row and column details. So let's copy this. So here US East 4. So we have seen here -config regional $1. So we are specifying it here. So it will pick this value US East 4 and it will create all the resources in this region. So let's copy this. I will clear this screen, execute it here. So instead of passing command one after another, we are executing a shell script where we have defined those steps. So as you can see, first it is creating an instance. So once the instance creation is complete, it will go ahead and create the database inside that instance. So we can just minimize this. Here we can search for spanner Click on this. So you can see the operations which is going on here. See, you can see this instance is created. See, now the instance creation and database creation is complete. So if I minimize this, I'm in Spanner. Here you can see test spanner instance is created. If I click on this instance, so inside instance you can see the database. So this is the database, pets-db is the database. So we have created this database now. So inside this database we can see the table by the name pets. So that's how we create all this at a time using a shell script. See, you can see this column, pet id, owner id, column and the row details. So all these values we have specified in that .sql file. So that schema details you can find it here. So now let's go back. Run the following command to see the schema. In this lab there is just one table and the pet id and owner id fields are both integers, not strings. We already read this file petsdb schema.sql, how it's defined. So that's same. Run the following command to see the data you import. Notice the primary and foreign keys use counters. As you learned earlier in the course, this is an anti-pattern when using Spanner. To solve this, you use a Dataflow pipeline written in Apache Beam to reverse the bits of the integers prior to importing the data into Spanner. This solves the problem of the integers while maintaining the relationships. Let's get this .csv file. So let's copy this. So here you can see this output, how it has taken. So let's open the editor. Click on courses. Here click on understanding Spanner. Click on Dataflow. Click on CSV to spanner.py. So if we scroll down here, so this is the pipeline definition we have defined. So these are the pipeline arguments from line number 53 to 68. This contains the pipeline configuration. So this pipeline reads from the CSV file, then reverses the bits on the pet ID and owner ID fields before writing the data to Spanner. And this reverse bit function begins at line number 21. So this is the reverse bit function. So first we need to install the Apache Beam. So these are the prerequisite which is required to run this pipeline. So let's copy this, execute it here. So it's installing the dependencies. So now this is complete. Let's go back. Next we will run the pipeline by executing this CSV to spanner.py. So we are running this script. So this pipeline gets executed locally in Cloud Shell. So let's copy this, execute it here. So now this is successful. So once that is done, we will run a query to see the result by executing this command gcloud spanner database execute SQL. So here pets-db is the database name and the instance flag we are passing here and providing the instance name here, and we are running this query from pets. So this is the table name. So we are fetching the table values. So let's copy this. So now we are getting these details: pet ID, owner ID, pet type, pet name, breed. So these details we should get. So next let's run this command to remove the data we just added. Here we will be passing delete. So here In the previous command it was select to fetch those values from this table. Now we will be deleting this data from pets table. So let's copy this. We are executing this command from Cloud Shell only. This will delete the data from pets table. So 6 rows have been deleted. Next we will run the code using the Dataflow service. So in task 2 we will run a Dataflow job. So to run any Dataflow job we need a cloud storage bucket for inputs, staging and outputs. So first we need to create a bucket. So we need to execute this command gsutil mb is nothing but make bucket -l is the location. So the location will be US East 4, and here this is the bucket name. So it will fetch the here dev shell project id is nothing but the project id, and it's appended by -data-flow. Next it will copy this pets.csv file into this bucket. So let's copy this, execute it here. So now you can see this, it's creating the bucket with this name, and the operation is complete now. So let's verify this. We can go to navigation menu here and click on cloud storage, click on buckets here. So you can verify this. So this is the bucket. You can click on this bucket. Inside bucket we should have files. So we have copied that CSV file, right? So you can see this pets.csv file is present inside this bucket. So this is how you verify it. Once it is done, let's clear the screen. Next we need to enable the Dataflow API. So first we have to disable the API and enable the API. So here gcloud services disable, and this is the API name. So first let's disable it. Once it is done, let's enable it. So we are just passing this enable flag. So this will enable this API. Next we will run the pipeline using Dataflow with this command. We already saw this CSV to spanner.py. You can just take a look at this and understand what is being defined inside that. And the region we are passing it as US East 4, and the worker machine type is E2 standard 2, and input we are passing this pets.csv file. So it's taking from that storage bucket, and the output will be stored in the same storage bucket inside results and the outputs folder. So it will output the result to this path, and it's a Dataflow runner, and the project ID we are passing here. Temp location will be this. Whenever we execute a Dataflow job, storage bucket is required, and input we need to provide, output result file where it has to store, that is very important, and also the temp location. So let's copy this, execute it here. So you should get this message. Now this job execution is complete. So here we can go to jobs. So I am under Dataflow. This is a job. It is succeeded. So this is how you verify it. Post that, let me clear the screen. Let's go back here. We need to verify the data has been added to Spanner database by running the query. So here we need to execute gcloud spanner database, execute SQL, and the database name and the instance name we need to pass here, and here we are passing the SQL, and here this is a query, select from pets table. So we need to see if the data has been loaded into this table. So you remember we deleted whatever data was present inside pet table. Now making use of Dataflow job, we have loaded the data from the cloud storage bucket into this table, making use of this Dataflow job. So let's copy this command. I hope you are getting the flow what we are doing in this lab. So let's verify, because our data flow job is completed. We must see the data now. So now you can see the data is added into this table. So this is the output you should get. So here you can click on this data flow job. So in job graph, job steps view, you can select job graph view and see. So these are the steps which has been defined here. So these are the stages which gets executed. Once done, we can delete the spanner instance. So now we are done with our job. So we can go to spanner, click on spanner. So we have this instance. So inside instance, whatever database we have to delete that. So let's delete the instance. So here it is asking delete instance and one database. So we need to provide this instance name. So it will delete the database as well. So now the instance is deleted. So in this lab we saw how to use Dataflow and Apache Beam to migrate data into the spanner. So once you have done with both the tasks in this lab, you can click on end lab and end this lab. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any issues performing any of this task in the lab, you can leave your comments in the comment section. I will be happy to help. If you found my video helpful, please like and subscribe to my channel and stay up to date with the latest content on this channel. Thank you all for watching. See you in the next video.